it's also been in the news a lot lately because like as the like climate change is happening and the glaciers are receding, they're still finding like
Well, we talked about
relics.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was I sent Mike some pics that I'm not gonna be able to show because they're, for obvious reasons, but like it's creepy
it
to
is
say the
creepy.
least.
Like they're finding people that are like literally like you can see the skin, the facial hair on them.
That's what
What
we
Like
saw.
unit they were in, you can see everything,
yeah,
like the
like
dates on the
the
newspaper.
hobnails, the boots, everything, all the clothes, the ammo in the cardboard in the
Yeah.
pouches is still like
Yep.
intact. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
So it
it's
is.
really
They're
weird.
learning so much about it. Actually, they're having a. They actually, the Italian government has had such a problem with like them finding relics of the White War, which is like way high up in the mountains, and
Yep.
from these glaciers receding. They had to create a special police task force just to like kind of guard and protect these bodies and these relics they're finding up there
Hmm.
because they're finding so many of them. Like,
Interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of them are actually from what I've read, because I've been digging on this for years now, like just off and on, about how they're finding these perfectly preserved scenes basically.
mhm.
Because I mean it'll be entire people in a living quarters that just got buried alive.
Yeah, avalanches, mudslides.
Well, yeah, I mean anything. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this is what I'm talking about, like because this front, particularly the Italian front, okay, was probably, in my opinion, the most insanely shitty front you could find yourself in the First
Yeah,
World War.
it's
I mean,
it sucks
horrifically
because
bad.
it's arguably it kind of takes both. It's arguably the nicest front to like be on if you're like a low person. At the same time, it's also the shittiest because the environment is like terrible, but like also the trenches because there was 12 battles of the Isonzo River,
Yeah.
literally over the same place. It is the most stagnant front of World War One.
Yep.
So like the trenches have like fully concrete latrines and plumbing and electricity and like other stuff, but it's also like you're literally fighting on you're sinking up to your hips in like rotting corpses of the people that have been fighting here 4 years ago. Like,
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I mean the Alps and the Dolomites, the types of mountains that those were in that area by the Isonzo and extending a little bit far north and west of the Isonzo River Valley. Dude, that is the worst kind of mountain to be a mountaineer on.
yeah.
I mean,
It's like they're like columns of rock. They're not even like mountains, really. They're just like these straight up.
I'll get some pictures up. Well, I don't have
Yeah.
any modern pictures.
I mean, like
Yeah.
the most jagged terrain I've ever seen.
Well, it's like you have these giant like granite mountains, like granite and marble, like literal granite and marble mountains that like don't really erode with time. And then in between those like granite and marble mountains, you have these like slippery shale
Mm.
hills
yes.
in between them, and that are just you can't get a footing. Everything slides when you try to, fight on it, and it's just it's a horrible thing to traverse over, and they're abysmal.
Well,
And you're getting tons of sun exposure. Like the one thing that like I've read, and I've read a lot of like firsthand journals from these. I read a lot of the I had to take a lot more knowing the Austro-Hungarian side of it and the German side of it than the Italian and American side of it. But like a lot of these first things, like you don't realize when you're that high up. The number one thing I see over and over and over again in a lot of these people's journals is sunburn.
Mm.
They talk about they expose because the air is so thin and the cloud cover is so thin because the clouds tend to disperse when they hit the sides of the mountain, and they're fighting higher than that a lot of times. They're getting sunburned all the time. They talk
And I
about
wonder if
this.
being physically closer to the sun too than most people are has anything
The
to do with that.
intensity of the sunlight is so much higher, as well as the oxygen being so much lower.
Plus,
And,
all the snow reflects off of everything.
you get sunburned from underneath.
Yeah.
Yes.
You also your they call it snowblind. You can lose your vision that way too.
For sure.
And we do so a lot of the technology like that, skiers and like even into like World War II, a lot of the mountain warfare stuff, like the German mountain troops in World War II, a lot of them would be comprised of actual Austrian veterans from World War I that would go on to instruct. And the Austro-Hungarians basically set the basis of mountain warfare, and little has changed in tactics and maneuvering and stuff like that from what the Austro-Hungarians developed in like the 19 teens. It's almost remained exactly the same, and it's they were arguably the world's best at it by a lot, and to the fact that their tactics and everything still hold up today is just kind of mind-boggling.
Well, I will say from what research I've done, the Italians were equally good. They just had different little idiosyncrasies. They would do things a little bit different, but they were also excellent at mountaineering. And I believe that I'm trying to think of another kind of series of battles or a time period where that type of mountain warfare was fought in that kind of environment. And I really can't. Like, there's been people that have been engaged in mountain warfare. I mean, Afghanistan, for God's sake, but it's different than what that particular instance was in that particular, like,
this is the biggest, most well-documented, because I like mountain warfare a lot. That's kind of like what I was trained to do and stuff. And so I have kind of a an appreciation for it. This is the most intense, well-documented, the 12 battles of the Asanzo River in that kind of area is the most intense documented, I guess, mountain warfare in human history. The only thing that some people argue is you go back to like Alexander the Great, or you go back to like the Romans and the Carthaginians way back in that time. You know,
when they crossed through the Alps
in the Second Punic War. But the World War I, the 12 battles, the Asanzo River, this whole area, the Italian Austro-Hungarian front is the most intense, well-documented mountain warfare instance we actually have, more than almost all of the World War II ones, actually. And this is the longest, obviously, engagement in the mountains that we have in recorded human history. So,
yeah, it's 3 full years, basically, of constant and learning, adaptation. And we'll get into some pictures here in a second. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get into that and we'll start talking about this.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to start it with some modern pictures of what the geography looks like in color. So people can kind of see that, because I believe that's where the hell is there we go. Okay. So we're going to start out with, here's kind of here, can we see that? I'm going to get that on the other. No, we cannot. Okay.
So you don't even have my favorite picture up here.
No, hold on. I got to do the different screen. I forgot that the frickin' thing opens in a different window.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Stop screen.
Yeah, you forgot my favorite picture. My favorite one.
I'll never be good enough for you, Devin. I've just accepted that.
No. I'm just going to describe it to people because they can find it, because I don't even know if I have it saved on this computer. But my favorite one is there was the Austro-Hungarians had hollowed out a glacier to turn it into a hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a picture of a cameraman inside the glacier, overlooking a crevasse in the glacier that was hollowed out, and you see a sentry on this like kind of wooden scaffolding to one.
I know that picture. I don't know if I this is just I started going down this rabbit hole since because I've been making shorts on wearing the Austro-Hungarian thing, talking about Austro-Hungarians, and people are like, either they go, I don't have any clue about it, but it's cool, or people from Austria and Hungary go, thank you for doing that. Nobody really knows about this.
It gets really overshadowed by the Western Front.
Every front does.
All of World War I gets overshadowed by World War II. So it's one of those things where it's people miss it. And that's what initially like led me into it, other than like the family lineage to like this kind of region. And obviously the people that I had in my family who died in this fighting. But it's like, it's a really interesting, awful, different. It's a different kind of war. It really is. And it was almost entirely separate from everything else going on around it, which is
well. So
weird.
let's kind of set this up and preface this about why this happened. So, I mean, basically, the First World War breaks out in 1914. We don't have to get into that shit because that's not. So it breaks out, and then there's a bunch of people mobilizing very rapidly, and Italy's trying to not really fight up here, but then the Austro-Hungarians say, well, we're going to go to Italy, and that's the shortest, fastest way to get to Italy. And then we've got them by the balls. We'll establish supply routes, and then we're good to go. And Italy goes, well, fuck, no, we don't want you to come into Italy. So we're going to fight you in the hills because you're going to get fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the really long TLDR, right?
Yeah,
this is just like
the whole thing of it is like, so other than the Ottoman Empire, Austria-Hungary's oldest enemy is Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
because they were battling over the land that these battles were fought on or fought around.
The land that these battles were fought on changed hands between both of these empires quite a few times in up to like 200 years before World War I took place. This land had been both owned by Austria-Hungary and Italy multiple times and exchanged through the Napoleonic Wars and
it's like Alsace-Lorraine.
Yeah, the Italian War for unification and stuff like that. Lots of this stuff would change hands based on who was aiding who politically, because Europe has always been the just powder keg of small states that want to kill each other. Yep. And it's changed hands a lot. So there was a mixed ethnic background in this region too that supported both sides. And it had been just exchanged for 200 years before World War I.
So basically the TLDR is now you're in a situation in early 1915 because it does take a while to get people up there. You've got like essentially mountain troops that are specialized and trained for this were the initial ones. You got the Italian Alpini and the Austro-Hungarian Gebirgsjäger. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those units were specifically made for mountaineering. There were not a lot of them on either side, but they had them. And those were the first guys up there. That's it. It was just them, the shit they had on their backs, and they established the first initial kind of lines. Yeah. And the thing with the
fuckload of donkeys.
Right. And that's the most they had. They couldn't do anything else. So they get up there and they establish these really hasty lines. And the thing about this terrain too, which we'll keep looking at pictures, is once I get this background established, is it's not close at all. You're seeing people for days traveling if they're on the other side of this, whatever valley you're on. You cannot hit them with small arms. All you can do is observe their movements and then try to send somebody down, which is going to take several days to get back down the way you just fucking came up it took you 3 days to get up.
Yeah.
So that's how it starts really slow in 1915. Now we'll get into all that shit. I just want to start out really quick. That's the background of how this area became contested in this at this time period. So you've got that. Here's another really good picture of for fuck's sake, why does it do this? Why can I not just share? Okay.
Yes.
I have to open this damn.
Well, I'll keep tracking while you do that. So a lot of the setup, like Mike said, for what would become the 12 battles of the Isonzo River was a slog. It's not like most other fronts where you're fighting for an objective, like space wise. You don't really have a lot of convenient fighting features to like try to contest for control for. So rather than the battle kind of like weaving back and forth horizontally, the lines do, based on the geography, this war is entirely fought with who can get the highest.
Yeah.
And who can find the best positions elevation wise. Because your distances ranged from, sometimes they would control different cliffs of the same mountain on the same side of the same mountain and have to fight each other. Sometimes you're seeing battles shot from mountainside to mountainside, and sometimes it's people throwing rocks on a guy that's like 20 feet below. Like it is a heavily vertical integrated battlefield. It is the most vertically integrated battlefield we've had. actually, sometimes some engagements being like literally 180 degrees vertical.
We'll show some of those pictures of those guys climbing up those fuckers. But so this is kind of a really good example of the jagged nature of them, and just they're not kind of smooth, crisp mountains like bigger ranges that you'd associate, where you've got, a gradual or even a steep incline, but it's kind of smooth and the rock face is pretty established.
This wall of rock that comes out of nothing,
and the shit falls apart easily.
Yeah, well, you can see kind of the layerings in it right here on the cliffside, and
obviously these are modern pictures. Even modern climbers say that this is a fucking nightmare.
It's a nightmare
even today,
because you have layers that disintegrate and other layers that are solid.
Yes. So this is what they were doing in the First World War. This guy doesn't have 120 pounds of awkward shit hanging off of him either.
He's also got modern equipment, and it's summer.
Yes, exactly. So, but look at, that's just hard. And you fall off of that. You fall off of that. Guess what?
You're done.
You're fucked. Because even if you just get hurt, how are they going to get you medical attention?
Well, so funny you should say that, because there was actually battles of the Asanza River. So the late Victorian period is when mountain climbing became a thing. That was when like the first Everest expeditions were like attempted, and like other stuff like that. It became a thing, a big social thing to climb mountains. This was like the last age of like the naturalist. Like, what can we do in Mother Nature that hasn't been done before? And so like people from other countries, famous mountain climbers from other countries, would join both the Italians and the Austro-Hungarian army just to fight in this as kind of a prowess thing. And so we actually lost a lot of like really celebrity like naturalists and mountain climbers and like geologists and stuff like that for signing up to fight in this mountains, because they thought it would be kind of like a more bravado thing to do. So like we lost a lot of like actually really famous late Victorian mountain climbers in the 12 battles of the Asanza River. A lot of famous people died, which is kind of interesting. There was a lot of celebrities who died on this front from the time period. Yeah.
Why the fuck would you want
to? And see, look at this. Imagine climbing with that, because like, yes, like little carbines and stuff existed, but like most people didn't have those. Your rifle is fucking 52 inches long.
Well, and here's the thing too, is you don't want the carbine because you need all the distance.
You need all the range you can get. And like another unique thing that a lot of people forget is that the bullet technology the Austro-Hungarians and the Italians were using was even kind of antiquated for World War I. They were both using round nose bottleneck rimmed cartridges that were considered to be on the weaker end grossly overpowered for what they have to do, but they're on the weaker end of the spectrum of like the primary service rounds of World War I. And so they're shooting the farthest distances of any front, okay, with the worst ammo to do that. On both sides. Fun fact, the Italians wrote a song about the Austro-Hungarian rifle because it was killing them so bad in a couple battles. They wrote a song about it, and it still exists.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this discussion, I'm more just a spectator, because I don't know a lot about this stuff, but I someone who likes the history, I think it's interesting. But I know that during like World War II, for example, Germans, I forgot what exactly it's called, but one of the carbines is actually a mountain carbine, and
it has the 3340,
right, and it has the metal plate on it, so you can
adapted to be a mountain carbine, but it was actually going to be the standard Czechoslovakian infantry rifle.
Okay,
before that, and so they just adopted it as a mountain rifle.
Okay, so my question is, for this kind of fighting, did they have rifles specifically for that reason, to where they could actually like use it to
no
help? Really?
No.
Okay.
There was not a specific mountain pattern of weapon.
This is before that.
The thing that both of the countries had that they had going for them was they were almost dimensionally the same. The Italians are using a 6.5 by 52 millimeter rimmed round, and the Austro-Hungarians are using an 8 by 50 rimmed round. They're all pretty ballistically equivalent. Neither of them adopted Spitzer and or pointed bullets as we know it nowadays. It is your standard flat heel round nose bullet, not very aerodynamic. Even for World War I, 1905 is pretty much the year every country switches to Spitzer type bullets, which is why we have the 30-06, even though the 1903 Springfield was chambered for the 3003 cartridge, even though it came out in 1903, it's in 30-06 because the US adopted a pointed bullet in 1906. Which just gives you much better ballistics, a spire-pointed boat tail bullet. The Austro-Hungarians and the Italians never did that. Okay. The Austro-Hungarians, I wish I could find that because I have one somewhere. They went for a different kind of bullet technology. They went for a round that had its own charge put into the bullet, and it would explode when it would hit somebody.
Interesting.
Because they're kind of weird. We got to remember they have at the time it's the world's largest firearms manufacturer. During World War I, Steyr is the world's largest firearm manufacturer.
Right.
And it wouldn't be superseded until just before World War II by the German conglomeration that would become, well, at this point it existed, but it was Ludwig Lowe, and it would change to DWM, which owned Mauser and all that other stuff. But like at this point in time, the world's largest arm manufacturer and the world's largest arm innovator was Steyr. Okay. And that's in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But like they had all of this terrible technology they're fighting with. And
well, that sucks.
So they had some really bad equipment, but what the rifles had going for them is, while both of them are 52 inches long without the bayonet, both the Carcano and the M95 are very narrow. They're very svelte.
Yeah.
They're long, but they're well balanced, and they're light for their length.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Interesting.
This is a cool picture.
It is
a little outpost from like probably 1916 or 17, because
it's a climbing club. It's a clubhouse for mountain climbers.
Right, but then they started establishing little houses. But yeah, it's a club hut. But you can see the guy in the front is wearing his cool little Alpini hat, but that looks like a civilian hat. It doesn't look like the military one.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, that does not look like a military hat.
So is this one of those, do you think this is one of those cases where these are, yeah, because there's Alpini hats behind them. You can see the feathers.
So this is actually a photo I've seen before. That guy in the front is what I was just telling you about. He is one of the famous mountain climbers of the day.
Yeah,
here to teach people the ropes. So he's a civilian contractor, essentially. The government is paying him to train these people.
Jesus,
let me show you how this is done. Yeah.
Well, you could tell he's an expert. Look at that mustache.
You and your fucking mustache shit.
He's got a big mustache.
Yeah, you're mustache absent right now.
Well, it's only usually around for a couple months out of the year.
Notice these guys all have soft caps where helmets less utilized preferred for this theater. Helmets really were not standardized even on the Western Front, where they were pushed into production until like late 1915 and 1916. This front was always way behind, just on supply alone. So even if they
supplies are hard to move, especially shit that's heavy like helmets, because you don't ship them helmets one at a time. You're sending them a lot at once, and that's hard to get to this front. You don't see helmets for the Austro-Hungarian standardized until late 17 on the Italian front, and you don't see Italians getting helmets until early 17.
Right, and it's not really going to be. I don't see a lot of photos until like 1918 of Austro-Hungarians and Italians really wearing them, or late 1917. You're right.
Yeah,
of Italians or Austro-Hungarians.
Most people chose not to wear them. It's extra weight. Kills you in the mountains. So.
I noticed that when you were sharing all those photos earlier. Everyone's like wearing, like what are they called? Alpini hats and things like that. And so
they're wearing this hat.
People would strip down. They would basically carry water. A lot of these guys didn't even carry food. They relied on getting to their positions and then hoping food would get to them later.
Yeah.
They would carry basically just a lot of people, like the Austrians they keep finding, they only have like 40 rounds. They have just what's in their mag pouches. And sometimes they would even get rid of a mag pouch just to save weight and make it easier to climb with, because it's less shit to snag on equipment and rope, because everything's being done here with rope. and like poleaxes and stuff. It's
Well,
not like
that's what this picture is.
yeah, it's not like how it was like where you have like climbing chalks and like belay gear and stuff like that. You don't have any of that. So a lot of people carried as little as possible because it's how you get around a lot easier. So
I showed Mike this picture earlier, and he's like, "Fuck that."
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the worst front of the war in a
they're
lot of
literally
ways.
climbing vertically. I mean, it's not even
Yeah.
like, oh, we have a trail. It's like, no, you are climbing a sheer cliff with ropes. and
Sometimes
shit.
you get to be upside down. You have
Yep.
like a knob that comes out, so you have to like
Ugh.
literally climb upside down and then continue.
Okay, so now I have to ask this: how exactly is the fighting done in this kind of environment?
Okay, so that's actually funny. There was a lot of it was
Christ, yeah.
exchanging shots at 2,000 plus meters,
Okay.
which is actually how the Austro-Hungarians got their song about their rifle. The song is called Ta Pum, by the way. That's the name, the Italian song about the Austro-Hungarian rifle. But it was using the environment to your advantage. They would have these little mountain guns that are designed to come apart and don't weigh very much, like 70, 80 pounds per component. And they would belay it up onto these mountains with like a few shells and try to like trigger an avalanche to bury
Yep.
people.
Wow.
Yeah, and like and another like fun things in some of these like valleys, after the Austro-Hungarian Navy got entirely barricaded in by the Italians and British Navy, they would take their deck guns off their ships and transport them into these valleys and put them in casemates in the side of the mountains. So they were literally shooting like 1 to 2 ton naval artillery shells at the Italians out of these like bunkers and casemates that they would like saw the top off of a mountain and then put a like naval deck gun on top of it.
Earlier, Mike shared a photo on Discord of some giant ass like mortar or something. I just how the hell did they even get that there?
We'll go to the Austro-Hungarian folder.
Yeah, they take it piece by piece on donkeys. Like
Right. And
bajillions of donkeys were killed for food and transport in this front. It was yeah.
Yeah, here's that picture.
Yeah. So
360 millimeter mortar.
Oh yeah, the 360 millimeter Skoda.
Yep.
That is so Skoda still exists. They make cars. They also still make artillery pieces. But
yeah, they're good. They made tanks and shit in World War II.
The Skoda Artillery Works actually made some of the largest field guns of World War I, and this is where they were used. So
number of guns along Omaha Beach were Skoda.
Yeah, see, and so Skoda makes a lot of really good cannons, and they had a lot of big cannons, a lot of big cannons.
Yeah, it's a big ass thing.
But yeah, they would try to rock slide, mudslide, and avalanche people to death, and that's how most of the deaths actually occurred. Other than obviously disease and exposure, those were the two biggest killers.
Because
artillery wasn't the biggest killer, but stuff caused by artillery was the third largest killer.
Okay, because I've been, when you think of World War I, you always, think of like the trenches and stuff. And Mike was showing photos of trenches earlier, but I'm just like, I mean, was it that one side would have their trenches on one ridge and the opposing side?
Well, sometimes they would literally, you can't like dig in this stuff,
right?
So they would literally like stack rocks up.
Okay,
like a little wall.
So there's a trench, a version really up high. I mean,
that's the White War. Yeah,
we're probably looking at like over 9,000 feet, so over 3,000 meters.
Yeah.
Look at this. They're above the fucking clouds.
War happened up in the snow-capped peaks, and it was a little easier to dig there. But
yeah, I mean, that's insanely. There's like they're drilling into a glacier.
Yep, hollowing out a glacier.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like if you're up there, it's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing? Why even do this?
It just stalls the enemy.
So shooting down on some Italians.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, it was just literally so that the Austro-Hungarians, they thought they could just take over this region and then build like fucking big tunnel systems and like just build a huge railroad system and roads and shit through the mountains to just get supplies and then be able to take over Italy. Well, that didn't work so well.
The goal was to get through the mountains actually as quick as possible onto the why can't I think of the name of the place? They had a big empire, the Venetian Plain, The Venetian plains were actually like the breadbasket of Italy. That's where a lot of the Italian food came from, and it was just on the other side of these mountains from the Austro-Hungarian. So they were trying to get through the mountains as possible and just wreak havoc on this big flat area where a lot of the wheat and the grain was grown to cripple the Italian economy. And they never quite made it there.
Yeah.
Kind of towards the end, actually, because this is a front that the Austro-Hungarians very near the end kind of started to win on, actually, because it was the only front they could seem to win on.
They didn't though.
No, they really didn't.
Italy kicked the shit
so
out of them.
basically, as they were like surrendering and capitulating, they did kind of break through, but didn't make it far because the war ended. But there was 12 battles, and basically like 8 of them end in a stalemate, and then like 2 end in like minor Italian victory, and 2 end in like minor Austro-Hungarian victory, and that's all it was. So
it was just a fucking meat grind. But well, here's the thing: besides the actual like big pushes, like you hear the 12 battles, if you're just sitting up there, you have a bigger risk of dying of hunger, disease, frostbite, any kind of nature-related shit, or falling off a fucking cliff.
There was a lot of people that would get just hung up in their own climbing gear and die.
Yeah,
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is one that's really creepy. This is the White War again, way up high. They're looking down at their target, like hundreds, probably thousands of meters
below them. Yeah.
It looks like they just dug in the snow. It's not even like the ground.
Yeah. There's no rock up there. The snow has been there since the ice ages.
Right.
Like that snow has been there for thousands of years before they decided to dig in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's not melting, so yeah, you can just dig into it like it's the ground.
Trying to blow a tunnel through this. Yeah, that's fun. This is the one I was talking about.
God,
fuck this!
Don't let go of that line, dude.
Yeah,
dude,
let down.
I mean, and then taking, people, I don't think they probably were in this picture, but can you imagine getting pot shots taken at you while you're trying to do this?
While you're trying to climb up here, because you're literally a dot, like a black dot.
Right. Well, I have a couple of pictures that show the perspective, and all of a sudden you're climbing on this fucker, and let's see, these guys are Austro-Hungarian. So some Italian guy goes, "Oh,
there's a bunch of people climbing over there." Yeah.
Boom! Avalanche. Everybody's off the side of that freaking mountain.
Yeah.
They're done.
Well, there's advantages, I guess.
I mean, that's brutal, though. That's fucked up.
Oh, yeah, that's fucked up.
The other neat thing they didn't have to worry about, though, is like planes weren't really a thing. Planes couldn't like fly at this altitude or around the mountains of this, so they didn't. You have no aerial reconnaissance. You don't have people harassing you with machine guns or dropping bombs on you because you're so high up and they can't fly through these mountains. It's
probably an eerie quiet.
Everything's line of sight. So
yeah,
it was ridiculous. And like no vehicles either. Obviously, you just have some pieces of artillery, and that artillery was like gold up there. If you had artillery, that was good, but B, now you're a new target. You don't want to be near the artillery. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, just this endless freaking, I mean, that's a lot of, I don't know, like if people have climbed really steep hills with a bunch of shit, especially in higher altitudes, which I have not, but I've heard, dude, just doing it normally is a motherfucker. Yeah. Imagine these guys.
I've done it, but like in the desert, but not in the freezing cold like this.
Yeah, but now imagine you have to do this with 120 pounds of gear, and you probably aren't going to have any food. You're probably not going to have any that you have beasts of burden that are carrying maybe a machine gun or two. Most of this war is fought with tiny little, like 4.5 centimeter guns. Okay.
Yep.
And rifle fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Fucking miserable, dude.
Okay. So this guy's wounded, and this is how you get down.
They tie you. Yeah, they hoist you down.
Well, they talked about it a lot of times that like people that even got wounds, they would probably survive on other fronts. Once again, in the journals, they talked about having to put a lot of people down as opposed to because they wouldn't survive the journey. Essentially, it's like a wound that they would live normally. And it's not even like weird stuff. It's like if somebody would like break their leg, it's not worth feeding them, and they can't stand to fight. They can't do anything, so they would kill them.
God, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, over like minor injuries and stuff usually, because it's just how it was. It's not worth the resources, or or they wouldn't survive the trip down the mountain.
Right.
So,
God, it's fucking dark.
Yeah, you're pretty much there for the duration.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just absolutely.
This is also a front where logistically it wasn't really able to like rotate the troops off the mountain. They would kind of just push more in. You never really got to like leave the Italian front if you were sent there. You were stuck there because they couldn't, like you said, it's logistically they get you up there. They didn't really think about how to get you down.
Right.
So
this is what kind of started to happen in like 1916 and 17.
Oh yeah, the ski lifts.
They started getting more advanced because they're like, okay, we're having some fucking.
We've been here for 4 years. Like,
yeah. And so they started to like make these little cable cars, and like they'd have these little outposts, just like climbers do on mountains nowadays, and they did back then. And they would start building these on the way up, and they eventually had like electrical wires, and they had telephone wires. They had it was like they established little like ski villages basically.
Yeah, they had whole hospitals eventually by the end of the war. They had plumbing, electricity, heat, stables for donkeys and stuff like that. They even had like animal birthing centers to replace donkeys that were like getting lost in the fight, and stuff. They had pig pens that were like heated inside the mountains and stuff to try to supply food that they would give scraps to and throw dead bodies in. Like they had tons of stuff up there.
Wow. Yeah. It's the infrastructure is insane. And you got to think about it too. This is the first known time that these mountains have been affected by any humans like this. Like we're actually starting to bring the human world up to this altitude for the first time in our history,
Yeah.
And it's insane. Oh, this is fucking excellent. This is like a sentry post, like a watchtower, basically.
Yep.
That's how you get to your post.
Imagine climbing that.
Fuck that.
Imagine trying to get down from that if you really have to shit.
Yeah. I would just do it over the side, dude. I wouldn't even get down.
You're just gonna squat over and grease that ladder for the next guy.
Or somewhere over the edge or something.
When he breaks his leg and it turns out it's your best friend and you have to put him down.
So there's I believe a modern picture of a remnants of a cabin that's, you can see there's a trail there. It's kind of built on the way up along the trail for like, you want to stop and rest for the night.
See, this is where when you're showing me that, I was just like, how the fuck do you even fight in like in this?
It's pot shots. It's straight up pot shots. And like once in a while you get lucky. And even if you hit close to someone, that bullet's going to send all that rocks and shit. And like Devin said, if you get injured, you're a liability.
Also, it's not just one guy shooting at you.
Right.
You usually have 20, 30 guys shooting at a group of 20, 30 guys. So it's like if you have 20, 30 guys shooting, eventually one of you is going to hit something.
Right, yeah.
And the best part is like they're all on those static lines that are drove in. So you shoot one guy, he fucking tears down that static line and hits all his buddies.
Yeah.
Like it's awful.
But hey, those Western Front trenches, am I right?
That's right. Oh my god.
I mean, it's all fucking awful and terrible, but like,
yeah,
it's just the amount of the different. So I guess my point is like, this is the same time period, the same conflict, and it's going on at the same exact time. You've got people literally in the mud and the water on the Western Front. The Northern Eastern Front is literally just the steppes where you've got massive engagements going on in open fields. It's just a slaughter fest. And then eventually trenches, of course, but like, and then down south, you've got this going on, and then you end up getting the Ottoman front open. The Middle East becomes a front in itself. And then it's like, holy shit, the Galatian front, like later on when they started, Greece was like, okay, we're going to go up through here to try to break through and get the Austro-Hungarians by the balls.
And then you have Japan, who just takes everything over in the Super Eastern Theater and basically doesn't put up a fight and wins big.
Right. They send like 20 guys total that were just kind of there observing. for lack of a better term. But like, you know,
they capture all the German possessions in Asia with no fight whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they won World War One.
They did. Japanese, they came out the best. They had like I think it was like 120 casualties.
They lost. Yeah, they lost the absolute least, and they just gained everything.
They literally won everything. Yeah, on that hemisphere of the planet, they were like, "Yep, this is Japanese now."
All right. So speaking of, you were saying earlier, these people looked like dots.
Yeah,
that's an entire like company of people,
of guys,
right there. I mean.
And the best part is, it's like if you've ever played one of those fair games where all the ducks like go past, it's just like that, but it's people.
Yep.
There's another duck.
Yep.
Holy shit. Okay. Remember you didn't have to ask for advice going to my new unit on Bragg, and I'm happy to say I'm a specialist in air defense and graduate airborne school. Oh, congrats, dude. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Have fun in Iran.
Well, he's air defense, so he probably does remote work.
He says, I will. No.
Yeah.
I will.
So thanks for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. We were talking about that. Let me see if I can find, because I've got, dude, there's so many like dumb,
I really wish we could like show the guns, because then people could see it, but it's a stream, so we can't.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to do videos. We're gonna have to do some long form shit eventually, because like you can only say so much in a minute or 2 minutes. Like it's cool. I like doing shorts because it's easy and like fun, and it gets people kind of hooked. But I need to start doing long form. Long form just sucks. I have to brush up on all this shit.
Yeah,
I haven't talked about in like years.
Record it, edit it all together, and
I mean that's not that hard. Like I'm really kind of, I've always been lazy. I'm not going to do this super produced shit. That's just not my style. So it's like,
it's more about the information than it is about making it look good.
Exactly. I already look amazing, so it doesn't
I mean, I will say in that uniform,
dude, this is one of the best.
It's one of the best looking uniforms of the First World War, really.
Do you want to entertain a side tangent quick about the fucking complexity? Like the Austro-Hungarians had the most complex uniform rank and insignia system. I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I mean, dude,
they were going into World War I with all their medals on their chests and like tassels and pom-poms and shit. It was, they were fucking blinged out.
Gucci.
Yeah, and then they found out, oh, that shit doesn't matter. It gets dirty and it falls off. Why is mine more blue than Devin? So this is actually Pike Gray. So everybody in that French video that I made, the short about like why they wore Horizon blues, like that's gray, that's not blue. I'm like, no, it is blue. Trust me. And this is considered gray, but this is more blue than the French Horizon blue.
Yeah.
It's also terminology, which I'm going to make a video. I'm going to show them, if they think this is fucking bad, they should see what khaki means back then.
Right. Let's just go a whole fucking spectrum.
Oh, dude, I've got a whole fucking video plan for what khaki meant back then.
Yeah. I'm technically wearing khaki if that's what we're doing. But like,
yeah, that's more of a green.
Yeah. This is also gray. It's a stone gray.
Exactly. But they would call that green. Yeah. You know, their definition of like, especially with military uniforms, their definition of colors very different than what we would consider normal today.
A lot of it too is they overdyed uniforms. Like your uniform was overdyed blue because the dye back then wasn't like we had nowadays, and it would fade to a grayer color quite quick. So
yes, and so this is brand new. I've never had this dry cleaned yet. I might, but I wanted to put together an impression of like one of those guys I was just talking about, 1915. That was one of the first guys up there when they were still wearing all their bling and all their shit, and then quickly figured out that, oh, we got some problems up here. This isn't going to be a quick, in and out, like, shoot a couple guys, get through this.
Yeah,
we're kind of screwed. And so that's what this one is. I'm gonna get one like Devin's got, the more 1915, when they realized that none of that bling and shit mattered in Germany.
This is the 16 pattern. They had a transitional pattern. This is the 16 pattern. Yeah.
Yep. And so I'm gonna get probably a 15 with the standing collar, and then but it's still gonna be in the stone gray or the
color.
Gray. Yeah. And because, dude, so they went through what, 6 enlisted uniforms, mind you, enlisted combat arms uniforms. They went through what, 5 or 6 in that 4 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to see, you have the potential of seeing 5 or 6 different models of just take an infantry guy or a cav guy, or no, we're not going to take a cav guy. That's its own fucking
Yeah,
rabbit
even if
hole.
you want to just stick to infantry, so they would have started with Mike's uniform. Then there would have essentially been Mike's uniform, but in this color. Then there would have been this uniform. Then there would have been a uniform where wool started to become short supply, so they started issuing a heavy, like brown corduroy uniform.
Interesting.
And then eventually you would see towards the end a mishmash of wool and corduroy in the same uniform.
And that was their standard uniform. It wasn't just something that they cobbled together. It was like, no, this is what we're issuing them now. Like, holy shit. So just an infantry uniform in that 4 years changed like 6 times. I thought the US was fucking crazy. I thought Germany was crazy. I thought, well, France got a lot of variations, but they were a lot more standardized than when you compare it to the Austro-Hungarians. My God. And the UK, the British, bravo, champ. Bravo.
Sticking it out with one uniform the whole war.
Yep. Canada comes in. No, mate, just use Oz. Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fucking A. But so yeah, I mean, Austria-Hungary and their insignia too. Okay, there's a reason this is all blingy and complicated. So they would have Devon's got his on, which is later, and they stopped doing that in like 1916. Most of the people.
See, mine have the collar facets. These would go away on this uniform. It would be just the gray.
Yeah. So in the beginning, you've got your branch of service, which mountain infantry was like this dark Jaeger green, right? Mm-hmm. And then you would have your branch of service insignia, which is mountaineers, which is the Edelweiss. And then you'd have, if you're a private, you don't have anything here. But if you're a lance corporal, I forgot the actual rank name. You would have 1 star, and then caporal, which is it
would be 1 white star, because we had a silver star that was an officer rank.
Yeah, and then gold stars are general officers.
Gold ranks are higher officers. Yeah.
But that's pretty typical for a lot of European officer rank insignia of the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, and then officers were similar. Actually, they were just the collars were shorter, and the uniforms they had different shoulder boards for their rank on their shoulder, and as well as on their collar. And then they would have what the hell else did they have? Officers was just more blinged out. Yeah. But they still had the scallop pockets that were nicer, but it was a better fabric too. It was more of a gabardine wool than it was like this regular wool, which is really nice anyway. But like so they would look really nice. They had the Mütze, the Bergmütze, and also they'd have like branch of service pins like this that they would throw on. Then they have like mountain club pins and shit that they would get on there, like civilian pins that they would throw on their hats.
And then they would have like their marksmanship awards. They would have qualifications from different kinds of like fighting schools they would go to, and like extracurriculars they participated in, and like
very, very, very complicated. And then so it got to the point too at the beginning where logistically this is an absolute fucking nightmare to begin with. So this is for an Austrian, somebody from Austria. Mountain infantry, that was this color. If you were from, say, a region in Hungary, say you're from Budapest, right? You're going to still be a mountain infantry guy, but you're going to have a different shade of green denoting that you're a Hungarian soldier. And you might even have a different belt buckle than the 2 eagles. You could have,
and you would have a different hat icon. Some people, like even like some of the Muslim soldiers and like some of the like Serbians and stuff,
Bosnians,
have an entirely different hat and an entirely different rank system.
Yep. So you've got your color denoted, and then they had like, this would change too. They would change to Devon's color.
The mountain infantry stuff would eventually just be turned into light infantry, which would all be light green.
Correct.
In 1916. So
this is interesting because like I know the World War II Hungarian uniform is like brown color.
It's this uniform essentially, the 16 uniform.
Brown, So it's interesting to see or hear about this stuff and being like in the blue and the gray and all that.
Yeah, I mean it's literally old world uniform mentality. And then they had to come up with something really practical, a lot more practical, really quick.
Something Mike didn't touch on is they invented probably one of the best combat hats in the world. Mike's wearing it. It's the first iteration of the best combat hat in the world.
Right.
The Germans would adopt it in World War II. Like the Finns would adopt it in the 30s. The Russians would eventually adopt something similar. Like almost everybody adopted that kind of hat that would go from that to like a convertible like neck and face gaiter.
The Romanians wore it in both world wars. I mean, it's a really versatile hat.
Yeah.
And, it's I mean, the Germans still were their field caps are still shaped in this fashion where
they still kind of look like that.
The 1909 mountain hat essentially is what it is.
Bergmütze.
Yep. So, but it is a hat that is still seen to this day. The Germans and the Austrians still wear it on their mountain troops in a ceremonial uniform.
Well, the Romanians had is still the same.
And it is one of the best hats you can get for fighting it. So,
well, the Romanian hat's technically a combination of this and the French, the French bonnet de police, but it's the same concept. They have the folding ear flaps. Bulgaria would have a visorless version that they wore through the 90s. I have them in my shop right now. They're fucking great. So it's like, the Austrians, the thing with them, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, is they cared a lot about shit that didn't fucking matter.
Didn't matter. Yeah. And they failed to like create a standardized like officer corps and a standardized military, and it really hindered them. They would have officers that were Austrian giving orders in German to Bulgarian soldiers that don't speak like German, like and they would have to have interpreters and translators and.
Well, a lot of people in the comments were kind of it was kind of a mixed bag on that from people that are from Austria or Hungary that are historians about it. They said that early on, specifically, is what I remember, that it was not like that. They would have officers that were from the same region. They would pluck them and send them to school.
But as they started to die is when they started needing interpreters, and then interpreters became in short supply.
Right, and then that was after, in my research, I could be wrong, but I believe that shit really started to happen in 1916 after the Carpathian fiasco, where they lost most of their fighting force.
Yes,
on the Eastern Front, and that's what I believe led to their downfall. To be honest with you, is the Carpathian mountain crossing attempts.
Yeah,
because again, I get it. Austria is located in a very mountainous region, so is Hungary. The Carpathians go right through it, right? Or the Alps go through Austria. The Carpathians are in more of Hungary and Slovakia and shit like that. But so I don't know why the fuck they thought that they could just, again, their whole thing on the Eastern Front too, from what I've read, is get there as fast as possible. Supplies will catch up with you later.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and a lot of it too was the blatant racism and like class system the Austro-Hungarian Empire had. You had the Austrians clearly at the top.
Yeah.
Hungarians a close second, kind of semi-autonomous. But then you have all of these other people that like have rights, but not the same amount of rights. Like the Serbians and the Croatians and
Romanians.
The Romanians, the
Bosnians.
Gypsies, the Bulgarians, the people in the empire that are part of the empire, like your citizens, and you get
the Czechs.
They don't, but there was a lot of racism and classism happening, and so like they didn't trust at the beginning of the war a lot of these units to lead themselves. Like,
so it's kind of like what Germany fucked up on in Army Group South in World War II with not trusting the Hungarians, the Romanians, and the Italians.
Yeah,
and treating them like shit and not giving them the supplies they needed to do what the hell they were being asked to do.
So they would purposely be sending supplies to Austrians who weren't being sent to die right away at the hard combat fronts because they have more rights. We would send the Serbians first, but then they don't send the supplies; they send it to the Austrians.
And then they blame the Serbians for not doing what they were supposed to. And it's like, well, you didn't give us the supplies. They said, no, you guys just suck. You guys are awful. You're a terrible fighting force. This is why, you guys failed. And it's like, well, no, they didn't. They ran out of ammo and food.
There was some leaders that did believe the Serbians were good, and stuff like that. These other people deserved their right to fight for their homeland and other stuff. But like, it was very intermittent. There was no standardization. Everything had a personal twist on it. And it was all this just mishmash of like death by 1,000 cuts for every single issue. Not just why they lost, but for every single issue in the Austro-Hungarian Empire was always so nuanced in every regard to everything because one person's opinion could affect it.
See, okay, that brings up a really good point, and that leads to so much fucking animosity and infighting. You cannot possibly wage a successful two-front war.
Exactly.
With that, you literally cannot.
Mhm.
Why do you think so quickly, like early on in the war, Germany had to start bailing out the Austro-Hungarian Empire?
Oh, don't say that to dude. This one Austrian dude in the comments got all pissy because I made a joke about Germany or Austria's bigger brother, Germany, or whatever the fuck. I made some joke about had to send them helmets.
It's not bigger brother, but more organized brother.
Yeah, well, I just made a joke. It wasn't serious, right? But I was like, I said that Germany.
That's a much, much better comparison. So Austria-Hungary was like the screaming, crying, tantrum throwing autistic kid. And German Empire was like the I'm super organized ADD autistic kid.
Mm.
Yeah.
Great comparison there. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, jokes notwithstanding, they sent like 600 or like 500,000 or something helmets to the Austro-Hungarians because they were like, "Daddy, we want helmets. We can't make them." Okay, well, Germany's already sending them like to the Ottomans. They're trying to supply their guys,
which is going through Austria-Hungary anyways. Yeah.
Bulgaria wants helmets now. It's like, okay, like, why can't you guys? Well, we're stretched thin here. Whose fucking fault is that?
Well, eventually Germany would just make machinery to send to the Austrian Empire to make. Because I have one made by a company that still exists. I have an Austrian-made one made in Vienna by the Warcholowski Tractor Factory.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, the Austro-Hungarians, like the fighting force themselves, not terrible especially at the beginning, pretty damn efficient. Their logistics
well equipped, very well fought. Other than the UK, Austria-Hungary had the largest standing professional army. Mm-hmm. And it's for one reason, and it was for quelling rebellions that would constantly rise up in the empire. So, like, when the Serbians would be like, we want to be our own country, the professional Austro-Hungarian Empire would go down there and massacre a shitload of them.
Yeah, and I mean, how stupid do you have to be like be imperialistic within a nation of imperial nations?
Yeah.
Especially in a region that has been at each other's throats since fucking time can remember. And had people fucking with them as far as time exists. Like the Greeks fucked with them. The Romans fucked with them. The Turks fucked with them. The Ottomans fucked with them. Then the Turks fucked with them again. And it's like, dude, the Balkans is a place that you need to just it's like, you need to just have, dude, what I would do is I would put a temporary like blockade around all of that area, the whole Balkans.
Why? They're just going to kill each other.
And you got to let me finish. Just let me fucking talk. So it's like CS:GO or Counter-Strike, whatever. You just block off an area, you wall it off, and then you just have loot drops, planes dropping guns and ammo and shit just randomly. And whoever can get to it first has the upper hand. Mm-hmm. And give it maybe 20, 30 years and it'll sort itself out in my estimation. And then you remove all the walls.
I bet it takes even less.
What?
I bet it takes even less.
I'll give them 20, 30 years just for good measure. You know, it's like taking your antibiotics the whole cycle way through.
The whole cycle,
yeah. Dude, I know if somebody sees us, they're from the Balkans, they're gonna be like, well, you don't understand, you American fat fuck. Serbia did this, and then Bosnia did this, and then the Kosovo just sat there, and the Croatia did nothing, but they were supporting people. And then don't even get me started on Slovenia. You don't understand.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. All I'm saying is winner takes all. Have at it.
Yeah, go for it.
So,
go for it. Like, I don't care. Like,
get this battle royale on board. Come on,
I've never met well, okay, I shouldn't say that, but the Balkan people are some of the most fervently fucking angry people when you bring up history.
Yeah,
I mean, and they want you to care so bad, and I'm like, hey man, I like you as a person. I don't give a flying fuck about your plight and your ancestors' plight. I really
I
don't.
don't care what happened 40 years ago in that dumpster fire of
400 years ago. Dude, they go back. They go back to like
they've been fighting with
biblical
each other
times.
for forever since the
Oh my
Romans.
God. And it's like, and then not only are they fighting each other, but like I said, these outside forces, they try to go, well, we
manipulate
do
each other against them,
yeah. I mean, they had Yugoslavia, and that was arguably the best fucking thing that was for the Balkans in
it
a
was
long
all
time.
fun and games until Tito died.
Yeah, it was literally.
Literally, he was like, I'm dead now. This dies with me, and then suddenly the whole country was on fire.
Yeah, we got to protect Zastava, though. We have to. That's a national or an international treasure. It must be protected at all costs.
That's right.
We need guns and
right.
ammo.
That's right.
So, but yeah, I mean,
the only one making all the shit surplus, like all the shit obscure surplus ammo. We need them,
right? And I mean, Austria-Hungary is so dumb for thinking that they can take. I mean, it's bad enough taking the Czechs, the Romanians, the Bulgarians, all these little, and also not taking the whole country, but just taking a little sliver of land.
Mm-hmm.
That happens to be one of the most important pieces of land and ethnically. And they're like, well, why don't these people like us? I wonder why.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how fucking, and the arrogance too. Like they literally could not figure out why Franz Ferdinand got assassinated.
Well, also like that was a really shit thing to do because he was the next one in line for the throne after Crown Prince Rudolph, by the way.
Yeah.
Crown Prince Rudolph, funny thing, only son of Franz Joseph, the Empire of Austria-Hungary. He fucking offs himself, like horrendously gory, like eats a 12 gauge, like offs himself. Because he had suffered from what they called at the time melancholy.
Yeah.
He was just a constant like just like really negative, like depressed, like his whole life, just and finally he like blows his brains out when he's like 30 something years old or whatever. In a hunting lodge after he marries the love of his life, he kills himself. And then so this guy's going to take over. And this guy, okay, who, Franz Ferdinand, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the guy who is going to assume the throne at Franz Joseph's death, okay, which happens in 1916. Okay, so he's assassinated in 1914. He was the only one, and he was very outspoken against the government and his uncle, who is actually Franz Joseph, about how we need to treat all of these people as equals. We need to fully like monoculture the empire.
Do you think that was an inside job?
There's kind of some stuff that seems like it would be, but it actually a lot of people aren't thinking it was like a separatist movement or an inside job. It seems to be just like a random anarchist.
Which can happen. And that blows people's fucking minds that some one random little group or one person can lose their shit someday and go, I'm killing that motherfucker.
Well, because he was actually, Franz Ferdinand was actually well liked down in the Balkans because he had for years spoken for rights for these people.
Dude, he had people in Serbia going, hey, don't go here. They're going to kill you.
They're going to kill you because that was because of the Black Hand anarchist movement. And anarchy was really big at the turn of the century.
Communism.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So nice. He was killed by an anarchist. He was killed with one of the best rounds ever in the world, a 32 ACP. Which also, by the way, in case you're trying to figure out what the best handgun round is, 32 ACP started arguably 2 world wars and has killed 100% more Hitlers than any other pistol round. So, like,
allegedly,
yeah. And people talk about how terrible it is. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, there are arguments to be had for anything. A broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right.
But. Yeah, I mean, but the Austro-Hungarians, I think obviously not. I think they had one of the biggest roles in not only starting the war, but trying to maintain it. And they're the reason that the Central Powers completely got fucked because Germany had to
hold up the Ottoman Empire
after the first year,
Hungarian Empire.
After the first 6 months, actually, it was very apparent that these guys, they're absolutely incompetent. The leadership is incompetent as fuck. Like, because Germany, I can see how they would be like, yeah, we go way back, and we've seen your military on maneuvers, and oh my god, it's a huge standing army. They're well supplied. They got the nicest shit. Whatever, blah 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 blah. They're doing well. You guys are good to go. So yeah, we'll support you in your little endeavors in Serbia without considering that Russia's gonna boom get to the goddamn border in the speed of light, and then go into Austria-Hungary. And then
it's because they were mobilizing to go to the border before it even happened.
Right. And but here's, they didn't consider that or know that. Well, they probably knew it. But anyway, so, I mean, Austria-Hungary is probably the biggest player in the First World War in Europe on the Central Power side. And Germany gets all the credit for it. Bulgaria, too, when they started getting in, little Germany, they were like, hell yeah, we'll fucking take out the Romanians for you. Fuck them. We hate the Romanians.
There's a lot, but there's that being said, for Austria-Hungary's incompetence, very few countries, with the exception of Germany and Japan, arguably, stood the test of the first couple months of the war. Everyone else thought that they had, because normally you want to have enough rifles to supply your whole army and a half.
Yep.
Those were gone for most armies in about 3 months. They were out of weapons, almost every country. And Germany's really the only one who weathered that a lot better compared to every other nation in World War One. Everybody didn't survive the rigors of modern warfare. World War One was the first war that wasn't fought on won on like a strategic victory during the day, and then like a big attack and somebody capitulates and then there's surrender and land is exchanged. And stuff like that. World War One's the first war that isn't like a glorious like take the field, seize the day type stuff. It's a war of the bean counters. Mm-hmm. It's a war of supply. It's a war that the mathematicians win, not the infantry.
Yes, the infantry lose.
It was literally like, who can make the most shit, the nicest quality, the fastest. It's the first war
and get it there the fastest. That's the thing too, is so this is where logistics became, I mean, here's the thing, up until basically the Industrial Revolution, I would say, God, this fucking thing, just work with me here. So the Industrial Revolution, before that, it's like your supplies take days and weeks to get a few 100 miles. Yeah. And you know that, so you plan accordingly. That's why you have armies sitting around for months. Yeah. They can see the other guys, and they're just sitting there going, we need supplies. And then when you start seeing the supply train showing up, you're like, okay, we're about to do business here in a little bit. It's gonna be soon.
Whereas battles rarely lasted more than a handful of days before.
Exactly. And then it's like, boom, everybody goes home for seasons at a time. And then it's like, okay, muster here, report back. We're going back out here to take this and blah, blah, blah. We're continuing on. Well, in World War I, it's like, no, they get to the front and they go, well, we're not going back home, or it's not a couple days. We are fucking here and we're going to go that way. And both sides had that. And it's like, okay, well, now our supplies have to get there fast. Like we don't have a couple weeks. Then you also
got to look at the quantity of supplies. Like,
oh my God.
Cannonballs and stuff in the Civil War. There was a lot of them shot, and in the Franco-Prussian War and things like that. But like there was literally for one battle, the French army, set aside 8 million artillery shells.
Yep.
For one battle.
Yep.
They built up a supply of 8 million shells.
That's more than any artillery or any kind of firepower had been fired subsequent up until that point.
Yeah. So now we've probably been straying a little bit. Does Michael have any questions?
I'm just listening while I'm working on something.
Okay.
But
is there anything you want to know?
Everything. But
do you want to shoot a very spicily loaded M95 Stutzen with 8x56 shells in it?
Sure, why not? I mean, sounds like there are plenty of reasons why not. But
they're made to be fired with a T-shirt, so just make sure you do that.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds.
I got 50 rounds on clips for you. Come on, one right after the other. Let's go, Mike.
See, if this
Rapid
was a movie, this would cut to the moment of me like knocking on your door and my face is all black or something.
Yes.
You know?
Your shoulder, your arm is in a whole fucking cast.
Yeah, you're gonna have like a sling for your shoulder.
It's like a Looney Tunes bit or something.
That's
it's just a very painful gun to shoot because the ergonomics of it.
Well, yes, and it's light. It's just
light.
But that's the thing I want. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I was thinking, I get a lot of weird ideas in the shower because, like, that's where I just kind of.
That's the shower ideas place.
Yeah, it's the shower idea. The good idea fairy likes to visit me in the shower. We have a good time, and so I was thinking, like, you know, how many fucking comments like in videos where I'm like, dude, my shoulder's starting to get fucked up after I fired like 60 rounds through a bolt action rifle with absolutely no buffer spring or whatever, and it's a pretty decent sized caliber. And they go, "Oh, you fucking pussy! I shoot my Mosin all the time at the range. You're just a put." And I'm like, okay, either A, you're trying to be a tough guy and telling me I'm a pussy because you're making up for an inadequate. I know how that whole projection thing works. I get it.
Right.
Or you have not fired enough fucking rounds through a rifle from that time period, or any rifle for that matter, that's a caliber bigger than 5.56,
right,
for an extended period of time.
I have a lot of surplus guns, and a lot of them weigh a lot. And there's only one that I think that I could probably shoot more than 50 rounds in a go and not be in a tremendous amount of pain from. And that's that M24 Mosin I have, just because it weighs 9.5 pounds.
Yeah, it's a pleasant one to shoot. Yeah. But
I don't really have. I can't think of any So I don't have any rifles that are painful to shoot. I remember one time I got for my shotgun, I got Magnum slugs.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and that was like just getting kicked in the chest every time.
Did you know they make super Magnum slugs, Michael? You can get 3.5 inches now.
I don't want my gun to explode, dude.
I have a single shot, because that's like my end of the world gun with a 3.5 inch Magnum chamber, and I shot a 3.5 inch tungsten, which is super dense tungsten turkey load through it, and I thought my gun broke. Actually, like it came out of my hands. It came back into my hands, but like even me holding onto it, it's like brand new, so the stock is like super smooth. It didn't have any like checkering on it or anything, so it just boom. And I've shot a lot of guns out of my hands.
Flew out of your back?
Well, the gun didn't like fly, but it left my hands, and then it had to come,
and then you came back down. Okay.
I was pretty braced, and I had to take a step back. It was I was like, fuck that. This gun weighs like 5.5 pounds, and I just shot a 3.5 inch turkey load through it. So
yeah, it's insane. So the video is like, because I'm sure you've come across this, Mike, in your research for World War II, because it's all the same as far as rifles are concerned. Actually, it's worse because there were carbines in World War II for the most part, firing a full power cartridge. But there's reports of, I read particularly of German soldiers who were firing pretty much all day, and they were like, my shoulder is completely fucked. I don't know if I could shoot another round through it if we have contact tomorrow. Like, I don't know if I can do it.
Well, there's a lot of people that didn't want to, and a lot of it helps. In this front, at least everybody's wearing a lot of big, heavy winter stuff because it's so cold. But it's a lot of a lot. The rounds are grossly over. Everyone's rifle for World War I was grossly overpowered for what it had to do.
Talking about the bolt gun thing there, shooting all day. Going into my neck of the woods with Omaha Beach, for example, there's an account by Heinrich Saverloh who's shooting a machine gun, but in between, when his gun would get too hot, he would switch to his carbine. And he said that towards the end of the day, he couldn't work the bolt anymore with his hand, so he had to do it with his boot. He actually had to kick it open with his boot in order to work it, continue, because his hand was just so overworked at that point. Yeah.
They beat you up. So
yeah.
Yeah, they were made during a time where you did volley fire, and it was slow. You fired probably 5-10 rounds maybe in a day.
There was a lot of rifles in World War I where the minimum sights were like 400 meters.
Yep, 4 to 5. And they quickly found out if you shoot 200, 300, 400 rounds in a day, your shoulder's going to get fucked up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, because the rifles are designed not to break
Yep.
more than they are to be comfortable. So
What is a buffer spring?
your shoulder.
Right. Exactly. Oh man, but yeah, that's a fucked up thing. But yeah, like the freaking brutality of specifically the Italian front was, somebody asked me to put up the modern pictures again for, I don't know if they're still here. Sorry. I freaking get sidetracked and get on tangents and shit. But I will pull up the pictures I started with, because we're just talking about the actual terrain that these guys were duking it out in.
Very
And
cool.
again, these are modern climbers with modern shit, and they look, I mean, it's, dude, that guy's probably about 2,500 to 3,000 feet off the fucking ground, like 1,000 meters, maybe more,
just for fun.
And it's a very small point that he's standing on, right? I mean, it's not very big for a fucking 3,000 foot drop. So,
how you do it?
Oh, here's a cool one. I don't know if I showed this earlier. It's at one of those little outposts that they had established. You were talking about. You could see there was like animals and shit over here.
Yep.
This is an Italian one. And these little houses and shit, and they got the electrical lines and the telephone lines on those poles there. So that's got to be probably 15 or I'm sorry, 16 or 17, possibly 18, but who knows? Yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, and it's gorgeous when you're not getting lead shot at you and steel flying around and rocks and shit. But I mean, that's not a place I'd want to fight.
Rounds hitting rocks, the being buried alive, that was a big fear for a lot of people.
And a lot of them were like, I mean, here's the thing. You know what they do? I think it's in Switzerland and other countries to trigger an avalanche to clear snow. They'll shoot an artillery round at it.
Yeah.
Well, what everybody's got.
They do that here too. They literally have like, what is it? One of those big, recoilless like rifles mounted on the back, like a 2-ton truck, and they shoot it into the fucking hillside to trigger avalanches. Yeah.
What do you do when you got 30 guys on the side of a hill trying to climb up that bitch to bring supplies to their boys that have been shooting at you for the past 2 months? One shot can take out 20 guys. That's pretty efficient, isn't it?
That is pretty efficient.
And then bury the guys below them too.
It's too bad that's the only shot they had. But
right, and it's going to take 3 months to get another one if they can get another one. But better make that bitch count. So yeah, I mean, this is that's insane. I just can't believe that shit. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see. Do you want to go to the Western Front? Do you want to go to Ypres? Or do you want to go to the Dolomites?
I'd rather stand in the mud, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I mean, pick your point. I mean,
hey, at least if I go stand in the mud, there's rats and stuff to eat because it got too cold for rats and shit.
That's also a positive thing. No lice, no rats.
Yeah. There's no mosquitoes. There's no,
yeah.
Stuff like that.
I mean, I actually probably would take the mountains just for because like the Western Front was horrific in the sense of like shit was rotting and it was hot and it was raining constantly and it was fucking miserable and bugs and water and you're fucked. But mountains, you've got, like you said, I think earlier, like if you're a loner, you're good to go. Like that's your jam.
Yeah. Hey, at least you got a nice view to wake up to every morning.
Yeah. You can start a little fire and heat some water up, heat some snow up and get some water in you. Pretend you're not starving to death. And
not so bad.
Right. I guess I'd actually take the mountains now that I'm really, really thinking in depth about
this. Thinking about it.
Right. So yeah, I mean
I just really like the M95 too. It's one of my favorite rifles. So
well, here's the thing too, is the sight sucks on those. And the Carcano.
I like the sights on it, but I've always kind of liked those.
They're huge, dude. Like they're barleycorn fucking.
I mean, they're not as nice as like a blade and notch, but yeah, the V and the barleycorn is okay.
Yeah. I mean, the Carcano one too is like kind of, it's the rear sight's huge and the front sight's tiny.
Yeah.
But no, but
sights are pretty all right. I got
the
barleycorn on the front of mine though.
On the M95?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still, yeah, I mean, and then the Carpathians. Let's talk about that really quick. So the Carpathians, I'm looking at a couple pictures from that because I just kind of. Here's the thing: is I'll look at pictures and I'll never save them. So today I was like, after I was sending all these pictures to Mike, I was like,
you just
oh,
saving them. You're just
yep, I gotta get
opposite.
these saved. So our Eastern Front, I've got so many fucking folders, man. It's ridiculous.
Me too.
I got folders. Trust me, I got folders. I got the folders here. You can see them. Look for yourself. You don't believe me? Pull it up.
Look it up.
Yeah. So this is
the gay frogs.
What?
I said I want to see the one about the gay frogs.
Well, they're not turning them gay anymore.
Oh.
So this is a dude that looks like he's having a great day in the Carpathians.
Let's see.
I mean, look at he's got his mittens tied together like a toddler, so you don't lose him.
Dude,
what is that behind him? A door to like a fort or something?
It's thatching for.
Yeah, it's a wicker trench side. Yeah.
Yep, it's to reinforce the mud, which I don't know what the fucking point of that. Well, maybe in the summer they put that up, but dude, it's just you're just frozen all the time, like just freezing cold. Like here's because the Carpathians are like jagged and shitty on the sides, and then on the top it's like a fucking prairie. It's just nothing on the top of it.
Oh, and
so
you know
the
what
wind
else is really cool about these guys? They're not using M95s.
No, they're using the M1885s.
No, they're not 86s either.
Okay,
these are the 88s, so they're 86s converted to 8mm.
How do you know that they're converted to 8mm?
The barrel diameter on the end.
Okay.
They converted them. It's still the wedge locking system. They literally screwed the barrels off. And then they had an intermediary round that was semi-smokeless that was 8x52 instead of 8x50 rim. Yeah.
Yeah, but that I did notice. I just didn't know what model it was.
That's what they were. The
8890. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I didn't know what model. I knew they weren't N95s because of the magazine, obviously. But like,
you know why? Because these guys aren't. They're cavalry. So they got second line units. Yeah. These are cavalry guys that were converted to infantry.
Jesus. They're wearing civilian blankets as part of their uniform, not just to sleep on at night. It's like part of their uniform because they're so fucking cold.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean,
the officers all taking themselves too seriously. Look at that.
Yeah, well, and another comment I get a lot, too, and we've addressed this ad nauseum, so it's like, whatever, and I will never stop. But like, oh, this photo looks staged, and here's why. It's like, no shit, dicklock. Like at 99%,
basically standing in formation, dumbass.
Right, 99% of pictures in the First World War are staged. 99.9 actually. You know what you had to do to take a fucking photograph back then? Like it wasn't just.
You had to stand still for a significant amount of time.
Yep, 20 to 30 seconds depending on your exposure and what camera you had. 10 seconds for the fast ones, but yeah, so it's like they're staged, and it's cool though because at least they took them. We have these to look at.
There's a lot of neat thing about the Italian front. There's actually a lot of really, really cool photos from the Italian front. It was very well documented by both sides.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it is the side that Italy and Austro-Hungary used to fuel their propaganda. So
you mean the front, like the area?
Front, was used by Italy and Austro-Hungary to fuel their propaganda. So both sides took a shitload of pictures.
Right. And think about it this way. Most of the time up there, you're just sitting the fuck around.
Yeah. Well, that's most soldiers in most conflicts everywhere. Most of the time you're sitting the fuck around.
Hey, no rain.
You're dying of whatever disease is currently going through whatever.
Right. But here's the thing with the cold, no rain.
That's
Camera
true.
equipment and film does not like rain.
No, it holds up well in the cold.
Correct.
It's dry.
Yes, it's dry. And so that might be another reason. And also, they probably had the wherewithal to go, this is unfucking precedented. And we need to.
Since the front was so small, they had cities that were really safe, really close by that you could just.
Well, dude, and another aspect of the Italian, we're looking at the Carpathian ship, well, whatever. You get the idea. Yeah. But like, another aspect of the whole White War and just the campaign in general, even the Asanzo battles, not a heinous amount of casualties.
No,
You know, it's like
things,
a decent size engagement, mountain warfare style. 10 to 12 guys die.
Yeah.
And it's like considered a decent size engagement.
Well, that's kind of devastating, actually, when 10 to 12
but that's
guys
what I mean.
die in this conflict. Like, that's pretty bad.
Because, but think about it though. Like, yeah, it's the same percentage and it's the same impact, but numbers wise, when you're talking about the number crunchers earlier, you've got 12 guys that die, and that's a big fucking deal. Which any death is a big deal, but like, you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
In that front, it was. I think there was. I mean, it's
that's
true.
That many less people to carry food, and a lot of the stuff was like so vertical that if somebody died, you're losing all their shit. You're not getting their clothes, you're not getting their ammo, their rifle, their food, their water. It's gone. It falls.
Yes.
Like, you don't get any of that, and that's devastating.
Dude, it's like you were at the mercy of whatever higher power they believed in at that time.
That's right.
Literally at the mercy of that. Like,
Mother Nature was like, fuck you and you specifically.
Dude, and that's why those guys that you were talking about earlier that survived on both sides were like, hey, we're going to put a fucking mountaineering school together and make sure that all the shit we suffered to learn and we actually survived through gets passed on, so this shit doesn't go the way it did last time.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
It was it's a very interesting conflict. And I did a lot of reading on it, even before World War I became like a subject to learn about. It's probably my favorite front and favorite like time period to study is the Italian front in World War I. And so I've read a lot and seen a lot about it for quite a long time. And I'm following very closely whenever the Italians find new things about it. I like to read what they found and their discoveries, and when they document each little piece and all the pictures that they take whenever they find someone there, it's neat to stay on top of that, because we're still learning more today about this front, and we're learning more about this front today than any other front, actually.
Right, because every other front's been either had another war go through it and wreak havoc on it, every battlefield, or it's already been had because it's a very populated area.
This thing nobody's moved here, nothing's happened. It's just
it's unlivable. That's why
it's been buried under snow.
Yeah. So, and then the glaciers, now that some of them are receding in some areas, the shit that was covered up is now perfectly preserved.
Yeah, they're finding rifles still loaded that could go off. They're finding whole artillery pieces, hospital money.
Uniforms are perfectly on the bodies.
They're taking them off and drying them out and displaying them. They're that nice still. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. Because again, it's fascinating. It's also just to think about. It's a hellscape. Like you're completely at the mercy of the elements. Yeah. You're completely cut off from the world. It's just you, the few guys around you, and those guys who are going through the same bullshit that you are.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to kill them.
You also forgot about one other thing that they also had to be really, really aware of for pretty much the whole conflict. Be careful. That first step's a doozy.
What do you mean?
It's high.
Well, I said that earlier. I made that very clear. I was like, more people died from falling off a fucking cliff than they did in combat. Like, that's recorded. And, injuries, disease, and all that shit, that's the second most. But yeah, people fell all the time. And it's like, you're not falling 20, 30 feet. You're falling 2,000-3,000 feet.
20, 30 stories.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, you're not making it out alive of that one. Like, that first step is a doozy. Exactly. Like, dude, and like, so if you sleepwalk, good luck. If you're tripping balls because you haven't been sleeping well for extended periods of time and you start sleepwalking, been nice knowing you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, it's insane. And also, like, the rocks, like you were saying, if you decide that, oh, okay, we're gonna get here in winter and we're gonna set up, we're gonna put our little outpost here with our 12 guys. Well, summertime comes around, it warms up 10 degrees, and the rocks shift. And this rock decides that it wants to be at the bottom of the mountain now, and you're going with it now. Because you put a little bit more pressure than it was used to on there, and it expanded in the heat, and the ice melted a little bit and shifted just right.
Lubed up everything just right so it all goes. Yeah.
So there you go. Have fun. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Like, goodbye. But I mean, just absolutely merciless that environment. So
it's terrible. And it was very well documented. There's a lot of journals on both the Italians and the Austrian front. A lot of them are still currently being translated to English. And now, like, you can take snapshots and the AI can translate it all for you and stuff. So that's helping a lot, actually. But there's a lot of the same stuff being complained about on both sides.
Well, and I also have reading some of those in the past. It's been a while, but I got really into this around right before Asanzo came out. I was like, that's kind of a fun coincidence that I'm really into that, this campaign.
It's a great game too, if you've ever played it. Asanzo.
It is. It's fucked up, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a visual representation, because like on some of those maps, you have to adjust for windage and elevation, and it's like, oh, there's a dude, I could barely see that little dot moving. Okay, and then you just go, all right, here's the guy. I'm gonna aim all the way, and then you could just see the little poof. Oh, just missed him.
Yep.
But now he knows I'm here.
You see the little dust kick up next to him?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yep.
Fall off the rock. Yeah.
Right. I've got a picture of one of their living quarters. Let me see. Why is it not in here? It's Eastern Front, Italian Front. Oh, yeah. I'm going to pull this up quick. So this is another interesting factor that. So this is, I don't know which side this is. It could be either one. But the trend, your front line, basically your little front line is just on the other side of those rocks. That's the top of a fucking mountain, and you're just enough far back to where you're kind of protected from artillery and small arms fire. And it's like a little, they made all these out of wood and rock and stones. And they had like little villages set up here. That's your outpost.
Yeah, they put sandbags on the roof to stop when an artillery shell would hit, to stop rocks from coming through their thin wood roof.
Yep. And it's like, it's actually kind of cool, because what we did in this reminds me a lot of pictures and videos that I've seen from Afghanistan when we were there, of these little outposts that we would put up in the middle of fucking nowhere in the mountains in the Hindu Kush. And they look the buildings kind of look different nowadays, but the whole setup is pretty similar. If you think about it. And it's like you've got your little positions, your little defensive positions that everybody's guarding at all times, blah blah blah. You've always got somebody there. But then when you're back at the actual outpost, you're on your off time, you're cooking, you're trying to bathe with what you got, you're sleeping. It's just like you're living in a little barracks almost that you had to build.
Yeah. And all
that wood had to be brought up.
They would be making mortar up there to like use rocks as bricks to like make structures more permanent.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those structures are still there.
Wood would shift and swell with moisture, and change and get obviously buried and destroyed quite often by landslides and whatnot. But the stone structures tended to hold up. So you would see both sides they would take professional masonry workers up there, and they would make mortar out of stuff they find there, and literally like try to like brick build buildings out of stone and bunkers out of stone and mortar.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of those buildings are still there. These little camps and shit. The wood's gone mostly, but they're fine little buildings up there. Like, what the fuck was this? Oh, there was an outpost up here 100 years ago, 100 plus years ago. And I think there was another. Yeah, here's another little example. I don't know if this is the Carpathians, I believe, right? Yeah, this has got to be the Carpathians because it's more open. But I mean, yeah, it's like these look a lot more clean compared to the Western Front because it's rock. It's not mud as much.
Everything drains away pretty quick.
Right. And I'm sure they had little drain holes dug because, hey, you're on the side of a fucking incline.
It's pretty easy to kick out a sandbag underneath and let the water go.
There you go. So that's an advantage. Disadvantage is the thing too is what I don't understand is, well, I do understand it, but I just want to bring it up is on the Western Front, you've got the advantage of your trench it's got land in front of it and it's below the land behind it and in front of it, right? This is only below the land in front of it.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like you only have cover from the land below it. If they somehow can get up and get onto I'm pointing with my finger, goddamn it. If they can get up like right here, right? Say you get, 30 guys up right here, they punch a little line through. Well, now you've got access to literally every square inch of this fucking trench for a long way. Where on the Western Front, you still got to get in there and clear all these trenches, do the dirty work, pop up, get into the next line. You just got to
try to get around and get high on this front.
Yeah, and that's a thing where I can see where trenches are useful and why they use them. Because obviously if you're in a static position, you're going to want some sort of cover, at least from one side. But the stress of like, fuck, if they break through, this whole line is compromised.
It's useless, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just done. Whereas, in the Western Front, we can take this back. They got through our line. They took that trench. We can take that back because it's a level playing field in the most literal sense. And I mean, I know there were ridges, there were exceptions on the Western Front. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, what about Machine Ridge?" Yes, I get that, but for the most part, a lot of the Western Front was intentionally made on a flat as possible surface, kind of rolling hills and prairies. For that reason is because, it's a lot more strategically advantageous to be able to just go back and pull your shit together back here and then take it back without having to risk. And also you can't see that far. Like you can only see maybe 200-300 yards when you're on a level ground. Here, you look there, you can see fucking 1,000 yards in either direction down this huge line. So, you get a machine gun up there, woo, have fun. But yeah, it's just a different kind of warfare than a lot of the other fronts. And then someday we'll talk about like the non-Carpathian Eastern Front, like the German one, and how that was just, good God, musketry.
Yeah.
And all flat. And then
and some
they go
other
into trenches.
countries even participated there in the end. The Germans helped the Austro-Hungarians. They sent some people. This is where there was a funny question that an Italian soldier asked Erwin Rommel in the desert of North Africa, and it was, where did he get his medal?
Yeah,
he said he got it for killing Italians in World War I.
Yep.
And also the American 3rd Infantry Division, at the end of the war.
Nope, not the 3rd Infantry Division.
In this front as well?
Not the 3rd Infantry Division. Nope.
Oh, which one was it then?
It was like a battalion from the 3rd Infantry Division, but it was the fuck.
Because I know there was a couple, but yeah.
There was an entire like unit sent. I think it was a regiment. Let me see. Regiment Americans.
What are you talking about?
There was Americans that were sent to the Italian 332nd. That's what it was. The 332nd Regiment.
332nd, yeah.
And they sent the Americans down there to go help the Italians because the Germans started sending troops from the Eastern Front.
The Germans were sending people from the Russian front to help the Austro-Hungarians to bolster their numbers. So the Americans sent to go help the Italians.
And they did not have a great time there. They said
they didn't. They hated it.
Yeah, they were like, this is not what we signed up for.
They got there just in time, like I was telling you. They barely got to participate.
Right.
But they got there just in time to watch the Italians basically break the to watch the Austro-Hungarians break the Italian lines and start to beeline it for that Venetian plain. And then the war ended. So
yeah. And there was some French that they sent up there to help the Italians, but then they were kind of like, well, I mean, here's the thing: is Russia pulling out of the war in 17 fucked everything up.
Yeah, they really did. Those goddamn communists.
Yes, but like,
which
that
is
really
funny
did.
Because the army actually still wanted to stay in the war. They still wanted to keep fighting.
Right. That's a whole nother. That is a whole like semesters worth of shit
Bullshit. Yeah.
Russia in World War I is absolutely insane. Like,
Yeah.
holy fuck. I mean, just you think there were wave tactics in the Second World War? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Dude, they literally were like, you guys don't even have fucking rifles or ammo. So just run and grab their shit and start shooting them with it.
And they were also like, send in the big bunch of girls.
Yeah.
They had a lot of like death battalions that were composed entirely of women, just like with hand grenades. They're like, go get them, ladies.
Yep. They shaved their heads and sent them out, and they were basically
they fucked a lot of people up. They
were like their stormtroopers, their version of the stormtroopers, and they would fuck shit
it was
up.
led by some lady who was gonna be put to death because she had killed like 4 men or something like that.
Yeah.
And
they basically just turned her on the Germans.
So I think I remember you talking about this years ago in one of our.
I showed a picture of it. And I was like, "Where is this from?" And it was an all-female battalion from World War I. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they were pretty desperate. Like, they were like, "We need anybody we can get. Let's just send these convicts," which is a pretty common thing during a time of war. But like, let's send all these convicts in an organized battalion where they know the only way they can get out is forward, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
It's all fun and games till a bald woman gouges your eyeballs out with a spoon.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Fuck. Yeah. Dude, World War I was so, and like you said at the beginning, it's overshadowed by everything.
Yeah. I find World War I much more interesting than World War II.
Yes.
Personally, but like, because this is World War I is what is the start of the age we're in currently. It is the start of the modern age.
Yep.
The world hasn't changed all that much since World War I.
No, we gotten technology improved a little bit, but the geopolitical nature of the fucking world
pretty much the same.
Yep. Yeah. You can literally everything that's going on currently. We're not going to talk about current events. I never do that. It's not worth it.
Everything that's going on currently is fucked because of this.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can trace literally everything, good and bad, that's happened since 1918, 14 actually, to this conflict. This small blink of an eye period in time. So it's like, it's so fascinating, and you can spend an entire lifetime researching the First World War. You're never going to even cover maybe 5% of it.
I liked to be pretty broad picture at the beginning, but I had to really narrow it down. And then I was going to be like, oh, maybe I'll just do 2 fronts. And I was like, I can't. I had to stick to pretty much just this one.
Right. So. And it's like the problem with World War I, though, is it's not like World War II where you've got people that are ultra specialized in all these different things. You can if you need info, you can just contact somebody. There's so few, and it's getting fewer every day. Hopefully we can change that. But like, I find it really hard if I want to know something about a specific topic. I don't know who to on a lot of topics about the First World War I do, but like, I don't have people that I can just get on the phone. If I want to know something about Normandy, I just get on the phone with Mike and be like, hey, what was this? What was that? I have a question, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
there's
cool.
Not a ton of World War I people left, and there's no first level sources anymore. They're all dead.
Yeah, and World War II is going to be that way in probably about 5 years.
Left from World War I, so all the information we have is out there pretty much, which kind of sucks. And then obviously a lot of World War I information was lost because of World War II. So
yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that really sucked. And I think, sure, the body count might have been higher in the Second World War when you include what needs to be included, which is the China, Japanese, all that, the Pacific endeavors that went on there, Korea. But the body count was probably higher in what was higher in World War II. But I don't believe that body count would have been that high. I don't think it would have been that high at all if this war had not happened.
Yeah.
And allowed, because what was happening too, like on a broader scale, is while this was going on, because a lot of these countries didn't get involved until later. I'm not just talking about the US. I'm talking about like Bulgaria, the Ottomans, Romania, Greece,
For the
Macedon.
first like 2 years of the war, this was like a 3v3 battle.
Right.
So
and it became a stalemate, and then it became a
then
political.
it became a bargaining.
Exactly.
Begging,
can you
pleading,
please help
try
us?
to get anyone else to give the upper hand?
Mhm.
Yep. And so that's where all that backdoor deal shit started really going on internationally, like
That's
really
a big
bad.
reason how the U.S. got involved. You have the Zimmerman telegram. Germany's like, we'll fucking help you get all your old territories back, like Texas and all the way up to like the Canadian border. We'll get you all that back if you declare war on the United States.
Well, and who let that telegram through?
That's yeah.
Do you know who let that? Do you know who let that through?
Yeah.
The Brits.
Yeah.
You know why
They
they
did
let
it on
that through?
purpose to try to get the Americans to enter the war.
Yeah, because Germany was sending a lot of telegrams to Mexico that never made it there because the Brits said no.
They were like, we'll give you money, we'll give you weapons, we'll give you support. We just
never
need
made
to
it there.
declare war on the United States.
Yep. And that one happened to make it through. Interesting. And but just not just that, it was the bankers said, this is a really good opportunity to figure out our way around the war profiteering laws.
Yeah. Which sucks that the U.S. had to get involved because basically the whole war until they got involved, they were just fucking laying on a bed of gold bars, snorting cocaine off hookers' navels with, fucking $100 bills and British money and like French money and Russian money and just all kinds of money. And then somebody had to go blow up a boat.
I mean, shit happens. I do love that whole story to the Lusitania. It's like, well, it was just a civilian ship. No, it was camouflage.
I mean, it was a civilian ship packed to the gills with ammo and guns.
Lots of guns. Lots of ammo.
It was a civilian ship full of ammo and guns.
Do you know what the fuck would happen today if a crew, like say Carnival crew, well, nobody would care about that. The clientele, but like
you could fit a lot of guns on a Carnival cruise ship, and there's a pool.
Dude, so imagine like you get a decent cruise line and you don't tell any of the passengers that are on there, hey, we happen to be carrying a couple fucking nukes and a new virus we're trying out.
Mike, are you telling me that the Lusitania was the first I lost all my guns in a horrendous boating accident in world history?
I could have been. Probably the largest scale.
The largest scale I lost all my guns in a boating accident?
Yeah. And several 100,000 rounds of ammunition too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny because they're like, oh, it sunk in 14 minutes. I'm like, that's funny because most
ships don't take that long unless they're horrendously overloaded.
Or they hit a magazine on a military ship. That's about how long it takes, 10 to 14 minutes.
Blow it to smithereens. Yeah.
Because a couple of the survivors from the Lusitania said we heard a secondary explosion after the first one. They said the first one sounded like we hit something, and then the second one we heard.
Turns out two halves sink a lot faster than one whole.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, that was like interesting. But I mean, hey, whatever gets you. But like America was like, it's not in our bet. We're actually making more money staying out of it by supplying all these people.
Yeah, they really fucked it up. They should have kept just snorting cocaine off hookers' butt cheeks.
Absolutely.
All that other shit not got involved.
I'm always.
They should have been like, we'll write it off in taxes and send you another one.
But then Germany might win, and we might not get all of our investments back from France and probably Russia. Well, Russia's already a done deal.
Russia was getting their shit paid for by France and England.
Correct. And so it's like, well, if France and England get fucked on the Western Front, we're not getting that money back. Oh, that's convenient. They just sunk this boat last year. Did you know that?
And you get so many cool guns out of that conflict. Like, I have a Finnish Mosin made on a Remington Mosin Nagant receiver. Like,
oh my God, can I blow you?
Yeah, you can actually twice if you want.
Wow.
But
yeah, it's that little story too, that deserves a couple of videos. I don't have any originals because they're fucking insanely expensive. But yeah, New England Westinghouse Remington, making guns that were never. A
lot of Berthier's, a lot of Mosins marked Remington. Yeah, New England Westinghouse. My P14 for the British was made by Winchester. Like, so
Yeah, Winchester, Remington, and Eddystone, and then the Winchester 1895 for the Russians, which they liked, but they were too expensive and couldn't get them there in time.
Yep.
But like, yeah, a lot of cool guns came out of there. You know, you get the birth of the automatic rifle, with the CSRG, and then the later BAR. But like, the Germans were trying to put the MJ 0815 in the same category as automatic rifle. It's like, no, it's not. It's a fucking light machine gun.
Yeah.
But you also had the birth of the light machine gun then, you know, so they got the light machine gun. We got the automatic rifle, two weapons that were used, well, still to this day. So
and also you start seeing the first submachine guns, the MP-18, the Beretta 1918. Like you have tons of weird stuff.
Shortly thereafter, the First World War, the Thompson.
Yep. You know? Semi-automatic rifles start to become a thing.
Yeah, not great at first, but they still worked.
Yeah.
Kind of. But I mean, the concept was like, okay, now we're in the next phase at that point. And
World War I, fun fact, also the first time humanity put anything into the next level of atmosphere. I forget what the next level above what the one we live in is.
Oh, that gun, that Paris gun, right?
The Paris gun was the first time humanity left the lowest level of atmosphere. We were able to, and they were fucked up about it. There's a thing about the engineers who designed it. It was off target by about 4 miles because they weren't
account
able,
for the curvature.
They didn't know about it. They weren't like mathematically able to distance it before that shot.
Yep.
To be able to compensate for it. So,
yeah, the Paris gun, that was something where I'm just like, oh my God, like it's insane. And that was, I mean, the last, well, the Russo-Japanese War, that was actually like the pre-shock to the First World War, where everybody's like, this is what's capable, or what we're capable of now. And before that, you got the Franco-Prussian War, which was nasty, but it was still very 19th century-esque. Very.
Marching lines.
Formations, you know, days of glory and all that shit, and then months of not doing anything. And then, so it's like, or weeks rather at that point. But like the Russo-Japanese War was like the first big one where it's like, oh, now we're sinking fucking big ships. A lot of them. We're shooting people from very far distances. The machine gun is destroying entire formations. Artillery is decimating formations from miles away. And then most of the rest of the world goes, yeah, but that's happening over there.
Also, it involves a bunch of Asians. Those aren't
there people. You go. There you go. No, seriously. Like
seriously, that's what they thought. They were like,
I know.
That Japan won. Yeah.
The West did not give. There were a few people who went there and witnessed it and came back to like Europe and the United States and went, hey, we've got a problem.
They Actually, were like, next one's going to suck. And everyone's like, pfft.
We're good.
Yeah.
The United States was the most egregious for that because they came out with the 1903 rifle and they were like, oh my God, we're good to go for the next 100 years.
Look at this. It's like that kid that like draws a K98 and then is like, just like puts his own take on it. It's like,
well, oh God, I don't want to have that fucking discussion again. I've had that so many fucking times. I don't
look what I made, and it's just a Gewehr 98 that's kind of fucked up. Like
it's not, but it's
it
is. I guess well then your fucking Nissan Altima is a Toyota Prius because it's a car with 4 wheels and it's a compact. I mean, good God, but no, but like I mean the 1903 is a hell of a lot shorter. It was a carbine length and it sucks to shoot, but no. So we came out with the 1903. Our fucking military uniform. When we entered the First World War, it had not changed drastically since like 1902.
It had wide pants.
Yeah, breeches.
Yeah, you gotta have the wide pants,
which were so stupid. But like,
and you know who's more important by how wide their pants are.
You're right. Well, that was a very European thing that we were like, well, we can play ball too, guys. See, we just were fighting the Spanish around the world.
Look at our cool cowboy hats.
Yeah,
yeah.
But no, the American combat uniform, they were the only ones. Like a lot of the Europeans after the Russo-Japanese War were like, fine, okay, we'll change our uniform from a bright color. Like the Germans actually listened and they're like, in 1907, they were like, well, we'll go to a gray uniform then instead of the Prussian blues when we're going on campaign. We'll have a gray uniform.
Upset because they were wearing a navy blue and then bright crimson red pants in the first battle of World War One, and they
but I mean,
they were like, we need to change this, and there was pushback against it.
Well, no, yeah, that talk about that in a second, but like as far as the pants getting guys killed, I mean, come on, you can't really see them with the iron gray or the iron blue fucking greatcoat anyway. You can't really see.
Yeah, and the tall black boots with the like ankle whatevers, you know?
Right. And it's like, dude, you're gonna see guys because they have brass fittings. You're gonna see guys walking in giant formations before you're gonna see their fucking pants.
Yeah, no,
like, get real.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Germans were still like, yeah, and then the Brits also, they're like, yeah, let's go with the khaki uniform. How about that? You know, in 1902, they're like, maybe this is a good idea. And then the Russo-Japanese where they're like, yeah, we done good. And a lot of other countries, the US went to khaki as well because they followed the British, and they're like, well, we have a lot of arid places and we like khaki, which is actually brown and beige and green and whatever the fuck else you want to call khaki. But a lot of the European countries were just like, our technology's fine. We got it right in the 1890s, my friend. We're good to go. And then the people who had witnessed the war were like, no, you don't understand. Like this next one, if shit pops off,
this next one's gonna suck. Yeah.
And it did. And a lot of the shit that was learned in the Russo-Japanese War was actually applied, especially in naval warfare.
A lot. After losing the Russo-Japanese War, those motherfuckers couldn't buy machine guns fast enough.
No. Exactly. Like those guys were like, Maxim, we got a proposition for you, bud.
They actually had some of the best machine gun tactics during World War One. They actually also had some of the most machine guns of any army.
Their machine guns were extremely mobile. That's the thing. They were that carriage system they came up with for the 1910, dude. That was arguably that's why they used it through fucking like Vietnam, basically.
They're still using them today.
Well, I know, but yeah, I know. But like, dude, so all this shit started in the First World War. Everything that you can think of, communication, medical advancements, fucking, you name it, political bullshit, that all started in this 4-year time period that just absolutely cataclysmic.
It was so bad for the world that it made it the dumpster fire it is today.
Yeah. So, but
I've told people that before.
It's really, and it's interesting to like, because like you can look at the macro level of the First World War and it's like overwhelming. And you get down to the micro level, you're like, this should be a little bit easier. Nope.
And one thing I tell people that really sucks about the First World War, even compared to like the Second World War, which overshadows it, all of these fights are taking, with the exception of like the Russian front, the same place.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Like I was reading documents from people, like even in like the Gallipoli campaign, which wasn't a very long campaign.
Oh Christ!
They're slapping their shovels against the side of the trenches and killing thousands of flies.
Yeah,
like there's people walking on duck boards that kind of like squish and bounce because they didn't have anywhere to bury these people, so they just buried them in the bottom of the trench. And as they would start to rot, the duck boards would kind of, with the weight, there was burying people in the walls, so like arms would fall out. There was one instance of like I read of like a British squad. They'd come out of their dugout every morning and there was this hand that was sticking out of the trench.
They'd shake
good morning and shake the hand.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and it's like because you don't have anywhere to put these people. They just piled up. You couldn't bury anybody. If you buried them anyways, an artillery shell is just going to probably hit where you buried them and just churn everything up. Like there was one thing where a guy talked about how a arm that was from a guy in no man's land killed his friend. Like an arm that got thrown by a piece of artillery killed his friend. Like this is the only place where you're seeing this happen. The only time period in world history where you're seeing this happen, where it's literally 4 years of combat in one place.
Yeah. And you're there for the long haul. I mean, you do get rotated off, but it's only for a few days.
That wasn't even really a practice until near the end of the war for a lot of countries. They would just replace people as they died.
Yeah, sometimes, but they learned pretty early on the Western front. I don't know about the other fronts, but like on the Western front, they learned that if they rotated the guys off the line, it's not only good mentally, but they could re-equip them. They could bathe. They could take care of superficial wounds that would have otherwise become detrimental wounds. And and then they started running out of guys to rotate. That's it was kind of the opposite, actually. So I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there. Because at the beginning they were like, oh shit, these guys are losing their fucking minds because the shelling was constant. You cannot sleep. You cannot do anything. So they started rotating them off. And then Verdun, you get to Verdun. This is where I've read, and this is where this starts not going the way that it's supposed to, is because France starts rotating their guys. Germany starts rotating their guys. You can't rotate a unit that's been completely fucking wiped out.
Yeah.
And so
you're just pushing new people in.
Well, and so now the unit that was supposed to rotate onto that unit's place for a week and then off, they now have to stay there for 2 weeks and wait for the next unit that was supposed to be up there to replace these guys in another week. And they're trying to train these guys. The Germans are having the same problem, and they're fighting on two fronts. And so the French go, oh shit, you guys are going to have to stay up here longer. And they were sending guys into Verdun. They would go in a unit of 150 guys. They'd be there for 2 full weeks. And there'd be 10 to 15 guys left. And they'd be walking back, and the replacements would be like, where's the rest of the guys? Like, you'll see them.
Yep, nothing left.
You'll see them.
It was just stagnant. The whole war was...
Dude, Verdun was literally created to be a fucking meat grinder by the Germans. They're like, yeah, if we just
devised it from the beginning, and that's the diabolical thing. All of the Central Powers, once they started to lose, they just were like, how can we kill as many people as possible to try to get a better bargaining chip?
Yep. And we're going to wear them down to the point where they meet our demands. We don't have to meet theirs. Because they knew that they're going to get blamed for this.
Well, and it worked too. The French army revolted twice.
Yes.
The Russians had a whole ass civil war.
They fell down, cracked their head, and then had a really bad concussion that gave them a new personality in 1 year. So it's like, well, and they were also having big problems with mutinies as well.
One of those few conflicts where it's just, how can we kill as many people as possible in the same place?
And that's really fucking disturbing. Because that was, from what I can tell, that was one of the first times that's happened, where it's intentional. It's like, like usually commanders, you would think, generally prided themselves on losing less men than the other side, right? Throughout history, you go, I know I lost some guys, but hey, we gave it to them. They lost and they folded. You know, I tried to mitigate losses as much as possible. Well, in this war, it's like, no, I took more losses, which means I'm doing better because my guys are not giving up.
Right.
And it's like, what kind of fucking insane logic?
There was a big fashion show between the upper people.
Oh my God.
French rotated through tons of generals that could be like, here's my new take on what we're going to do next. And then when it didn't work, they would rotate people out. It was a fashion show at the top, and
another aspect too
of that at the bottom
of all fronts that I've kind of noticed there's a trend is this is also the time where the aristocracy in all of these largely monarchical countries for a long time, that began to fall within the first year or two of the non-aristocracy, who were the fighting men, being exposed to these aristocratic people who they in society were not really exposed to generally. And they're sitting there in the trench and going, this motherfucker doesn't have a goddamn thing for qualifications more than anybody else did at the beginning of this. And now he's leading a battalion or a company or a platoon because of his social status that is so fucking irrelevant here. Oh, maybe that's irrelevant in actual society.
Yeah. But there's also like a lot of good that came out of this terrible conflict that a lot of people forget about. This is the most tremendous rise of nationalism in world history.
Yeah, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how it's used.
But it gave people more than an identity of the village they came from.
There you go. And it was like, okay, well, we won. We pulled together.
Like, this is where a lot of European countries, other than getting rid of monarchies and establishing a lot more freedoms for people and stuff like that, and creating more modern governments, we also see a big rise in universal healthcare. Like particularly, I've talked about it before. The UK comes out with universal healthcare after looking at all these medical records, where a lot of their soldiers, their low-ranking soldiers, would come from big cities, but poor regions in these big cities, and they were on oftentimes 4 inches shorter and 40 pounds lighter on average than their officers, because their officers could afford to have adequate food and medical care.
Yes, early childhood disease and nutrition. Okay, so that I would like sometime when you come down, I would like to do a long form video addressing the whole people were shorter back then.
Oh, 100%. We could get through that real easy. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a kernel of truth to it, but it's not the norm. And it's
a lot more nuanced than people think.
Bingo.
But generally in a broad spectrum, people were shorter.
No, it's the thing is like it and here's the thing is today it's still true. The same exact circumstances
that caused that back then are
exactly the same exact. The thing is that we have better nutrition. Well, we have more access to calories, I will say. We have better medical care for especially for early childhood illnesses like a yellow fever, typhoid, fucking measles, mumps, all this shit that can really fuck you up as a child and stunt your growth permanently and affect you for the rest of your life. A lot of that shit's been eradicated or very treatable, right?
Yeah. The most deadly disease in human history, tuberculosis. We can defeat that now.
Well, that was before the First World War, but it still wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. And so STIs as well. That's another thing. Treatment got better for those, the penicillin and shit. Oh my God. And just treatment in general in the First World War. Because that's another thing that I think people, myself included, when I was younger, I never thought of like people back in the olden days fucking like they do now. Right. That's one thing. You're just like, it was very more eloquent. And in a lot of sense it was, because people were a lot more religious and it was more
a lot closer to a lot of people. Like you could just go to like the next city over. That wasn't really a big thing. You didn't have transport most of the time.
Right.
You're hanging out with people you grew up with, that your parents grew up with, that your grandparents like grew up with. So it's like, yeah.
But anyway, but here's the thing is it was way more shameful and frowned upon if people found out about it, but people were still fucking. They're making no mistake.
Always gonna be fucking. Come on,
dude. And so that was a huge problem too, because you get, dude, the whorehouses on all sides, from what I've read, exist. They would literally hire females to go up near the front and establish military brothels. They would pay them a salary. They would have them on salary, pay them to be here, and they had one for the officers and one for the enlisted men. The line for the enlisted men was usually a lot longer.
Yeah.
And it was the same few women that would service an entire regiment when they got put off the line.
Well, that's so funny you mentioned that, because I just got done translating all of the memoir, the book of Franz Gockel, who was a German machine gunner at Omaha Beach. And the first part of the book, he talks a lot about, what it was like living in France and just not fighting the war, but just living, being on a campaign, deployment, stuff like that. And he talks about that, one of the number one things to do was to go to the brothels.
Yeah.
And he said
they were all about that stuff. Yeah.
Right. When he said that was, obviously the thing to do. However, it was also very scary because gonorrhea and syphilis were like just
everything was rampant.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was many times where he would be like, hey, go to the brothel. No.
I'll wait for you guys to go and then just crank my shit retard style over here.
Yep, yeah. Bingo. Oh, dude, but like that's another factor too that very prevalent, and it's like, hey, I mean, it's another casualty. Yeah. Technically, it's like you're not in really good fighting shape. You're not in tip-top shape if you're pissing fucking.
There was a lot of people in France that they would get. A lot of armies would fine people.
Yes,
for going to the whorehouses and stuff like that. And then if you did contract a disease, a lot of times you were discharged dishonorably.
Well, and going back to, I know this is a different war, but in Franz Gockel's book, he says it's still relevant. Yeah, he says that a couple times their like NCOs would be demoted for it.
Yeah.
So
it's like you just can't fucking win.
yeah. Like, okay.
Everything is actively working against you in war.
That's not true. You win venereal disease. Come on now.
Well, does it win you?
You win burning when you pee. Like,
yeah. And your nose rotting off.
Yeah,
yes.
That's fine.
Yeah. The crabs. Whew. But fucking they're biting.
They're biting.
Fucking Joe. It was awesome. It was so funny. But yeah, I mean it's so vast and so interesting. I'm like really happy that a lot of people are they're loving the little shorts and stuff. Cause I was like, it's like nobody's gonna watch this shit. I make these videos because I like them because it's fun. And it's obviously, as people who watch can tell, I love these subjects and have since as a kid. It's not going away. It's for whatever reason, it's an obsession. It has been, and it I just want to learn a lot. And then, like I said earlier, it's like I also want other people to carry on researching and not letting this information, because we've got more information now than we've ever had in human history available to us.
Yeah,
with this thing that we all carry, most of us carry around. We've got more information
at our tracking device.
Yeah, it is. But like we've got more information in that thing at our fingertips than we've ever had ever. We should be using it. And and that's and it's
I'd
an
rather
example
just have ChatGPT tell me everything I need to know. Get with the program, guys.
No,
I'm kidding.
I
find myself more and more being like, I'd really love to get a hardcover of that book.
Yes, dude. If I actually have PDFs of a lot of things that I just got them because I didn't think I could find them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can get a hardcover. I'm ordering 2 of them.
Yeah. Also, we're all getting older now, and as we get closer to 40, you either get into World War stuff or smoking meat. That's the two categories a man falls into. So.
Well, I already failed at smoking meat several times. I'm horrible at that, and I don't have really any ambition to do that. I'm fine with cooking meat, just non-smoking. I'll eat it if somebody else does it right. Of course, I'm never going to turn that down, but I think I'll stick with the World Wars. We're on that trajectory.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I did skip the emo phase. I liked emo chicks for whatever reason in high school.
Emo chicks, dude.
It's fucking. It was kryptonite, man. I tell you, if you weren't there, if you're too young to remember the mid 2000s, the whole emo scene. Oh, amazing. But yeah, I was the weird kid that wore camo to school because I liked it, and I was like, I wore like boots and shit, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna shoot up." Like, he's like, "They're gonna shoot up the school." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I just love Vietnam jungle fatigues. I love camo and."
It's like I'm at work right now wearing when I'm at work, I'm wearing camo pants and boots, and I'm like, because it's comfortable.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean,
the older I get, the less I like jeans.
Oh God, you're one of those.
That's going a bit far. You just got to get a nice pair of jeans.
I haven't gotten a pair of new jeans for a while, so I was wearing like some old jeans for a while. And I was like, fuck these. I bought some nice a few nice cargo pants for my Normandy trip, so I've been wearing those ever since.
Yeah, they're so nice.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
but you just gotta fork out some money for like a good pair of jeans.
Right. It's been a while since I've bought some.
A nice pair of jeans is like you get them broken real good, and it's like wearing pajamas.
Yeah. Yep. The 12-ounce fucking actual denim where it's like rock solid when you get it. You wash it a few times and wear it.
I only buy like 22-ounce denim jeans now. I got like 6 pairs. They're nice.
22 is like wearing a goddamn cardboard box.
Yeah, it is like wearing a cardboard box, but after a couple washes and stuff, they're nice. They're so nice.
This is like gay shit, like talking about thread counts of sheets. So we're gonna get off that.
Virginia,
we've been going for over 2 hours too.
Yeah,
so we're probably
Virginia
gonna have a
reenactor here. I wonder if he's trolling or not. He says Desmond Doss went deaf because of syphilis.
Syphilis.
Syphilis. Yeah, that's
it's got a
that is not true. Is because he overdosed on his painkillers in the 60s.
He overdosed?
Something. I forgot what it was exactly. It was
probably because the syphilis got to his brain and told him to take too many of them.
Listen, let me look this up. He didn't fucking have syphilis.
How do we know? He's dead.
I've researched this. I know
Virginia
what I'm
reenactor is one of the most notorious trolls, and if he's being serious, oof.
Yeah. Okay, no,
Like-
it was for his tuberculosis that he
Oh,
that
the
he had.
tuberculosis coming back.
I
in.
thought they learned how to treat that, Devin. You
Huh?
fucking liar.
He had an overdose of
we can cure it now because
didn't
it's
say
just
what it is. It's that he had an
antibiotic.
overdose of antibiotics in 1976
Oh,
and
yeah.
went completely deaf from it. But he had a cochlear implant in the 80s. And he regained his hearing.
That would
that.
suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we can wrap this bitch up if you want. Like, it's just they could ramble about this shit for fucking. I mean, it was
We
fun to
talked for a
just kind
long
of go like, we haven't really talked about it since it's like getting some attention on my
And
shorts.
it's just good to be on a shite now that I have like
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's we need to get back at it. You know, I'm
Well,
always
we're not going to give any details, are we, Devin? But we've got some interesting stuff
We
planned
do
for
have
next
some stuff in the
weekend.
works.
Going to be fun.
It is
So,
gonna be fun.
but yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, let's just wrap this shit up. So,
sure.
hey, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for that super chat, dude. Good luck in the 82nd. Stay safe. But yeah.
Tell me all the good tourist destinations where I could put a McDonald's in Iran.
Jesus Christ, you fucking savage. But what should the I watched this after the fact to the end word of the week be?
Syphilis.
I was just gonna say that. Okay.
Syphilis, yeah.
Syphilis. Spell it correctly. You get it brownie points, extra points.
Yeah.
Don't be like
Nice
Virginia
laugh.
reenactor here and give us that fucking psychotic trailer park version of spelling. So
Right.
all right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
That's right.
Peace.